Alex, now the vehicle is at 63rd and Martin Luther King Drive. Let's get the history of this, and this has been ongoing for an hour. I've been listening to it in a scanner. The police dispatched that a Toyota Corolla, it's now going westbound, guys, west on 63rd Street, just south of the tracks there. So a Toyota Corolla was carjacked at Halstead and Harrison. There were several people inside and a lot of weapons inside. Now, initially, and this is the very important part, the dispatch said that there was a child inside that vehicle, but later they have said the child is not in the vehicle and may be safe with its mother. This pursuit went out the Dan Ryan all the way out to about 95th, turned around back into the city. It's been on Lower Wacker. It's been on Lakeshore Drive. It's been all over the city. Went back south on Lakeshore Drive, west here. This is State Street as it goes under the freight tracks here, and now the vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed, southbound State Street going under the Skyway Bridge, so that's about 60.
$5 a day invested for 1 year, and you could have $1,900. $5 a day.
Fifth Street, this will hit a lot of traffic. Now, initially, the Chicago Police Air Units, a couple of airborne police helicopters have been following this. Police officers on the ground initially were not following, and sometimes they've been called off for safety reasons. Now the vehicle is on the wrong side of the road. It is going westbound and the eastbound side of 67th and Marquette, almost in a collision there as it crosses the Dan Ryan. It is now on the west side of the Dan Ryan. Again, still on the wrong side of the street. It is driving into oncoming traffic here, westbound 67th Street. And this is crossing the Dan Ryan. We're a couple blocks west. LaSalle, go under the Metro tracks here for a minute, heading towards Halstead. But again, this vehicle is still, we're trying to stay with it. We've got to stay out of the police's way. So we're back a little bit. This vehicle is on the wrong side of the street. Westbound 67th Street, that's Marquette.
Any police officers in pursuit? It doesn't look like it besides the air unit. Are there any cars on the ground that are nearby?
There are, Marion, and this is just like we did. Remember, we had that pursuit a couple weeks ago. Yes. It's our cameraman, Max, who is so good at this, but has to stay with the vehicle. So I can tell you with my eyes, we can't move the camera on it here, that there are about a half a dozen squads behind this, and now this just went southbound. I believe that Shields, we're west of a football field here. This is we're west of the New Inglewood STEM Academy, Parnell. Oh, they're getting out. They're getting out here. 65th and Normal. We are at 68th and Normal. Now they're getting out, running northbound.
The police are right there.
Police are going out. All right, they got out of the car, guys, about 2 blocks west of the football field. I'm letting the pilot know where we are right now.
Looks like the police.
So they're asking for more units here.
There looks like they may have something blocked by this. Your camera blocked by this building.
But it doesn't look
we're
like
going to get around eventually, Jeff, if you can get around south eventually. I know you got to stay out of their way. So we're going to get around.
But others are standing nearby. They don't look like they were with the police. So now there's some people running. So that is a little more serious.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there are people, people running, and there are other people. There are other people who were there. I want to emphasize this, that several times during this dispatch, they talked about a half dozen rifles being in this vehicle. So these people may be armed, and this could end up in a dangerous situation. Anybody who's watching, I want to warn everybody about that. We are here about 68th and Parnell in the Inglewood neighborhood. The vehicle that's being pursued for the better part of an hour has now gotten out, and a lot of officers are coming to the scene here to try to apprehend what they said initially were about 4 or 5 people.
It looks like potentially could they have gone into the building? Is it possible?
That is what they're talking about here. So we've got about a 4-story apartment building here at 68th and Parnell. It appears what the police are doing here, they're trying to surround that building. They're trying to get all the people who are bystanders who have nothing to do with this to safety.
You can see them going up the back stairs.
There you go. Yeah. So we're on 68th and Parnell. That's a 4-story apartment building here. They're kind of going up the back. You can see from our south advantage point here now, there are probably I don't know, at least 12 apartments in this. It looks like a 3-flat here. Police are trying to surround this. So again, we can't see what's going on inside this building. Here are more police. They are showing up. I'll tell you, I can look from the right and I just see blue lights coming everywhere towards 68th and Parnell.
Clearly, there's a lot of activity on the back porches there. They're on each one of those levels, it looks like. And maybe coming up, like, so for example, we can see on the 3rd and 4th levels, you don't really know what floor they're focused on. Perhaps the person is in between.
They're trying to go room by room and clear that building.
They just said second floor. They just said second floor on the scanner now. So they said second floor in the scanner. And again, there's a whole protocol here. You know, there is a whole protocol on how you go into buildings, and this is a very, very dangerous situation. Again, we weren't able to see the 4 people that they said were in the vehicle, and they said there were up to 4 people in the vehicle. We kind of saw them running. We didn't see them get out, so we don't know whether or not they are armed. But throughout this entire process, while they've been dispatching this, they have presumed that these people are armed. So that is the presumption going into an apartment building here as they have this building surrounded. We're at 68th and Parnell, and now we have more squads coming to the scene. And so now they're searching the 2nd and 3rd floor.
I want to note here for you too as well, Mike. It looks like you've got a combination.
You see them now entering
they're
that
entering
back,
one floor, right?
4th floor.
It looks like you have a combination of plainclothes and uniform. You've got a large contingent, obviously. Hard to tell at first, but these people are just standing around. That always makes me wonder what's happening. And some of the people on the ground who look like they may be residents in the area, pointing things out and not looking like they're in an intense situation or that the police are really trying to push them aside or put them, you know, sequester them away from this building. And
well, that happened initially, though, Marion. We did see that because I saw people, and I'm pretty sure I saw an adult with a child running westbound on 68th Street, and it appeared the police were kind of directing them away from that building, probably yelling for everybody to get out of that apartment building. So we did see that initially.
Not probably yelling out of the building. For everybody to get out of the apartment building. They have lots of things to do to look for 2 suspects.
At 68th and Parnell, again, it looks like there could be up to 12 apartments in here. 3 or 4 floors.
The police are still waiting for the 2 suspects to come out of that apartment building.
Actually, 12 is probably too many now that we get a wider shot of it. Nonetheless, there are apartments in here. If this is an occupied situation, this could get a lot more dangerous where perhaps somebody is being held.
Standoff situation.
To see
listen in a little more as we kind of look at the pictures now.
Yeah, tough to see, Mike, if anybody has been taken into custody so far. You've done a nice job of going in close and then zooming out a little bit to give us the scene. But we know this has happened so fast from when that looked like that Malibu turned off of 68th there right in front of that building, and just the angle that you had, we couldn't see how many people may have gone into the building, but we know that police were on the scene within seconds to get people out of the front of that building.
Okay, we got some arrests. I'm hearing about arrests now.
I was going to say, you can. I always try to look at what the people in the perimeter and around are doing, and if there isn't a sense of extreme urgency,
and the news helicopters
that tends to make you believe that things may be under control. And so saying that there's an arrest.
I just heard him say in the scanner, we've got custody, we need handcuffs. They said, we have custody, we need handcuffs. Now again, according to the dispatches, we're talking about several people here. So just because somebody is in custody does not mean that everybody is in custody.
But like to your point, Marion, it did not seem that everybody was taking a stand back, very defensive position. They were going into that building right away.
Going the wrong side of that road, passing underneath.
Right, we are seeing and I am hearing simultaneously 2 people in custody. So we see 2 arrests right now.
Now, are we sure
there are at least 2 people in custody
in the car, in the vehicle? There's another person in handcuffs.
GoPuff is where the magic happens. We're built to make sure you get everyday items in as fast as 15 minutes. Whether you need groceries, diapers, alcohol, or anything else. How does it work? Our warehouses and technology were designed to get you what you need instantly. As soon as you place your order on the app, it's packed with expert precision and lightning speed, directly from our warehouses to you. Ooh! Our GoPuff warehouses are stocked with thousands of products, and we cut out the middleman, giving you lower than low prices. No added markups or fees. Did we mention we're open pretty much 24/7? So say goodbye to errands and hello to more of what...
We're not sure of that. Again, this is all dispatch, and I always want to emphasize that in these situations.
This is all
but what they had said.
Now this is all dispatch.
Keep in mind the situation
of
and the description they're getting this from, right? There is a person whose car is carjacked by multiple people. This is a really scary situation, and the information the police initially get is from a person who's just been carjacked, is frightened, very anxious, and may, in the heat of the moment, not give the most accurate information. So when it comes to things like the number of people inside.
Can you see the car that they were in and how many doors might be open?
Two suspects
taken into police custody Max, do we have the Toyota that they were pursuing?
Without incident.
Okay, it's right in the middle of the frame right now. Yeah, we're kind of behind a tree here, so we'll kind of get around.
Now, after this chase ended, they will...
Right, out of that car.
The only thing they'll be riding is the police car.
Yeah, so that's right in the middle of that frame there, in the middle of the trees here, those were the four people getting out of that car. I've heard them say at least two in custody.
What the situation was.
And it seems like the intensity that you hear during these pursuits out of the scanner has kind of died down a bit.
Makes me wonder.
Okay, now they're asking if there's more in custody.
And we know you have to stay out of the way
that's what we were talking about.
Helicopters as well.
Right.
Right, yeah, so just so you know where we're at, we're about a good mile south of the scene here. There are 2 or 3 law enforcement airborne units here that are right on top of this, 68th and Parnell. Again, I believe this is just west of the newer STEM Academy, the Inglewood STEM Academy that was just built a few years ago. But we kind of get the wider shot here as we come around.
And they get a wider shot. The school academy was built
here,
a couple of years ago.
To kind of make
sure
that everything is processed correctly, and they have to do a lot of
build a school academy a couple of years ago.
This is a critical
as
time
the news helicopters
would have probably
widened that shot.
Within the last
Long
15 to 20 minutes
shot.
if that school is nearby. That
they
can
have
obviously
zoomed in about
very
more
and scary
dozens of police cruisers on the scene
or on buses riding nearby.
It came to an end.
And certainly a piece of good news
that
the original report that there was a child inside the car when this first happened. Good to see that ended up not being the case, we believe, right, Mike? Because that brings a whole other level of urgency to the situation and possibly why the police chase garnered as much attention as it did from police.
It exactly did. And it's unfortunate to say, but I listen to scanners all day, and this happens several times a day, usually in the city of Chicago, where vehicles are stolen. Now, it's a whole different ballgame, as you said, when they said there's a child inside. As we talked in the last pursuit that we covered, there are protocols when to follow, when not to follow, who they're after, and how to follow. When there's a child inside, and you're talking about a child's life in danger, that's a whole different set of protocols. And they'll be more likely when they think there's a child inside the vehicle to go after this vehicle. Now, we didn't hear what these people, other than this carjacking, are wanted for. We did hear them say several times over and over. At one point, I heard something to the effect of 5 or 6 rifles that were visible.
Inside of that interior car.
Again, dangerous situation here. Seems to be, from everything that we're seeing, hearing now, under control. A lot of police are here. It doesn't appear.
Inside of that stolen vehicle.
Sorry, I'm pausing because they're talking on the frequency right now. They said something about they only saw 2 people get out of the car.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
that does clear at least that little bit of it up. So, Mike Lorber, great job as always. Yes. I know you've been listening to the scanner since this began. You said more than an hour ago. You've also been following it with your camera. So great work with the camera crew there. I think you said it was Max that's operating the camera. Wonderful work, and fortunately there was no child involved. That's always one of those things that would make it very, very, very frightening and obviously a very difficult situation. Let's recap just a little bit. Mike Lorber has reported for us that a Toyota Corolla was carjacked at Halstead and Harrison. Again, initially there was a dispatch of a child inside. Later learned there was not. Air units had been following this car, all beginning probably about 2:30, according to Mike, ending at 68th and Parnell.
Going through a bunch of area expressways, and we even saw some of that chase, high speed, weaving in and out of traffic, going the wrong direction, but ending peacefully and relatively calmly compared to how we know that these can end. We're going to have much more coming up on our news in just about a half hour at 4 o'clock. You can always get the news at
Starting with breaking news at this hour, a police chase in Chicago ending in arrests. Chopper 7 is over the end of that chase. This is happening near 68th and Parnell. We know that the pursuit ran through several neighborhoods on the south side before ending at this location. Several suspects apparently ran out of the vehicle, and at least 2 people are in custody right now. We're still working to learn exactly what caused this pursuit to start in the first place. We'll continue to keep an eye on this, and of course, bring updates as we get them.
Reopened the streets.
2 suspects are in custody after a
opened the
dramatic
streets
police
just
chase
5
this
minutes
afternoon
ago.
on the south
More
side.
police,
According to
lots of
Chicago
police
police,
officers
this all unfolded
on
just
the
before
scene
2
just
o'clock this
earlier on,
afternoon.
moments ago.
Officers
Just
responded
5 minutes
to a call
later,
about a
they have
person
searched
with a gun
inside that trunk
inside
of
a
that
Chevy
car,
Malibu
and the
near
streets
42nd
were
and
closed
Wentworth.
off
The driver took
due
off
to the
and
standoff
crashed in front of an
situation,
apartment building
and now it
at
was
6th and
reopened
Parnell.
5 to
Officers
6 minutes
caught up
later.
with the suspects as they ran
Hopefully you
into that
enjoyed this
building.
video.
Skycam 9
Have a great
arriving
weekend.
as
See you
police
tomorrow.
arrested them.
Bye.
No word on any injuries.